Hey everybody, this is Neil's Nomenclature, and today we are going to be looking at some HTML and CSS code I used to create a mock-up resume that hopefully is aesthetically pleasing and functional to its core. So I only have 5 minutes, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Starting off, I'm going to be demonstrating how the colors work in CSS and how they translate to HTML. Now, they are both markup languages, which means they're both text-based. HTML focuses on the structure of things, so what users will whenever they open up a site, this is the first thing they're going to, or the things they're going to see, and the layout of the website, basically. So as you can see, I have links and I have all of my information, so the actual information on the resume here. And in CSS, it's more of the style. So you can see that you can change the width. Down here, you can change the color, and you can change a plethora of things that I probably won't get into today. But what I will start with is the color. So color is pretty interesting in CSS. There's two ways to go about it. Um, there is just the English syntax for the color. So in this instance, I just typed in gold for my right bracket and left gold for my left bracket as well. But if I really wanted to change it, I could simply just type in red and the right bracket would change. Same thing goes for this, but there is another way that you can go about changing the color. And I brought up this website, W3. I just typed in CSS colors, and this is the first thing that pops up. Each one of these colors has a code um, specified to it. So for this instance, blanched almond, never heard of that color, but that sounds pretty interesting. Let's take this code. If I wanted to, I could just implement it right where red would be. And hopefully, yep, on the right bracket, it is now changed to almond or blanched almond or whatever. Cool. So that you can do that with all of the different variables. You can do it with footer, for instance, if I wanted to. Now the footer is blanched almond, and I think this is antique white or something. But regardless, let's go on to um, the width and the dimensions of things, because that's a very important thing whenever you're trying to create something that users will like to look at. Um, so for in this instance, I have one picture GIF. They say photo, but it really is a GIF. Doesn't matter. So what this says is this is my photo class. So in CSS, classes are identified by this period, and that means for each time I call the photo class to my HTML doc, it will have the specifications. So in this instance, I have the width set at 300 pixels. So that's how big you see it currently. And float, which just means the position it's in, it's on the right side. So it's floating on the top right of the screen at 300 pixels. Now, there is a hover function. So if I happen to put my mouse over, it will double in size to 600 pixels. You can change it to whatever you want. So now that it's at 400 pixels, it shouldn't be as large. Yep, it just increased a little bit. Let me bring this up. Okay, so now that we got the color and padding out of the way, well, I can give another example of kind of how this can be changed. So in this instance, footer, px stands for pixels. So in this instance, 50 pixels is how um, that's the minimum height that each footer will have whenever I call the footer, whenever I have a footer. So if I wanted to, I could change it to 100, and hopefully, yep, it increased, it doubled in size, and now it's 100 pixels in size, or in height rather, sorry. Okay, so now we got that out of the way, I'm going to give another example of how classes are used in HTML and how they translate to CSS or vice versa, whatever you want to say. They work cohesively, and if they work at the end of the day, then hey, good to you. So in this instance, we have a head class. So here we have every time we call head in our HTML doc. So for instance, we can just do a quick search. So in this instance, interests is part of the head class. So it will be at 20 pixels. So this just specifies um, how big they are and what the class's specificities will be whenever you do instantiate them in your HTML code. But that's all for me. Thank you very much.